Welcome to Learn to Sail, here aboard Osprey in the Algarve, and to this our introduction to the Coastal Skipper course. The Coastal Skipper course is the first of the advanced courses, and on this course we'll be teaching you more advanced techniques on boat handling, navigation, pilotage, rule of the road, the whole spectrum that you're going to need when you go out there on the high seas. Prior to taking this course, you will have needed to have completed the Yachtmaster Coastal Skipper Theory course. Now that's a 5-day course, and all the knowledge that you learn on that we'll be putting into practice here on the boat when we take you out on the high seas there. When you come on board, we'll be teaching you all those techniques that you're going to need to handle a boat of this sort of size in all types of conditions that you might encounter as a coastal skipper by day, by night. We'll be teaching you how to navigate away from perceived safety using advanced pilotage techniques, narrow channels, close quarter sailing, and you'll learn all this on board. One of the main features of the training is boat handling. We'll show you how to handle a boat like this in all situations, bringing her alongside, taking her off the berth, navigating down the narrow aisles, turning a short round in her own length, man overboard. We'll teach you all of that and a lot more besides. As a coastal skipper, when you stand behind here, you're going to be responsible for your crew, for the yacht, for yourself. We'll give you the confidence so that no matter what Mother Nature throws at you, you'll be able to run the boat. We'll take you through all the pre-planning necessary to ensure there's a smooth passage. The international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. You'll have learnt this on your theory course. Let's go out to sea and put this into practice. Prop kick is what affects the boat when you put her astern on the engine when she's stationary. In its simplest form, the propeller acts like a little wheel and tries to move the back of the boat in one direction or the other. Now, when you get on a new boat, you're not necessarily going to know how that kicks or walks. Take her out into a nice open space, no one about, clear water, preferably on a calm day. Stop her dead in the water and give her a good burst astern on the engine. She'll kick one way or the other. So let's use that to your advantage. When you need to turn the boat short round, in her own length, as good as, bring her down the aisle, pick as wide a gap as you can find, no point in making it harder for yourself than it needs to be, and then turn her and use that prop kick. With Osprey, her stern kicks to port, she prefers to turn to starboard. Put the wheel hard over, put the brakes on, burst astern, the prop kick will move the back of the boat round. As she starts to come backwards, you stop her into neutral, give her a burst ahead on the engine, again with the wheel still hard over, just leave the wheel hard over to starboard. That's going to spin the propeller and put thrust across the rudder blade, prop wash. That kicks the nose round further. As she starts to move ahead into neutral, give her a burst astern on the engine. That makes the stern walk round a little bit further. As she starts to go backwards, neutral, you just work her round on the throttle. And when she's turned round 180 degrees, effectively in her own length, wheel to the middle, off you go. Prop kick. Prop kick is the effects of the propeller that it has, particularly on the stern of the boat, whenever we go astern. Whenever you come onto a new boat, take the boat out, play with her for a little while, take it out to a nice quiet spot like we are now, make sure no one's coming up behind you, and give her a nice big burst astern. Let's see which way the back of the boat goes. Going astern, the back of the boat is kicking that way. Prop kick. Let me just show you just briefly the manoeuvres that we use when we bring the boat alongside. Under power, come in, nice shallow angle of approach. Remember about prop kick and how when you go astern on the engine, it's going to kick the stern of the boat one way or the other. So prior to doing this manoeuvre, you need to have made sure that you've been out and ascertained which way she's going to kick. Osprey kicks her stern to port, so her preferred side to come alongside will be the port side. Come in at a nice shallow angle, and then just as she's about to kiss at the shoulder where we've got her all nicely fended up, give her a burst astern on the engine. That will bring her to a halt, and at the same time the prop kick will lay her alongside the pontoon, which will enable your springman step ashore smartly, get that spring on, job done. When it's time to leave, you've got to make a decision. Do I take the nose out or do I take the stern out? Well, have a look at what the wind's going to be doing. Have a look at what the tidal stream's going to be doing. Tidal stream's king on this one. If it's a weak tide, then a little bit of wind on the nose, then we'd opt to take the nose out first. We rig up a short stern spring off the stern of the boat, and then we allow the boat to come back, the nose pivots out, engine into neutral, cast off, motor straight out. If we got a strong onshore breeze pinning us alongside, that's not going to work because we can't get the bow out far enough. If we do, the wind's going to be blowing on the bow and that's just going to push us back alongside. So with this one, we've got to use the bow spring this time. We put her into the holding position with the bow spring. We let her roll round her tummy like that. We drive the boat under power gently into the pontoon. Lots and lots of fenders at the front, of course, to look after the bow. As she comes out, she'll easily come out 60 degrees. Once she's there, engine to neutral. You must go to neutral before you ask your bowman to cast off. Cast off. When that's all clear, just reverse her straight out. Don't forget, prop kick's going to send her a little bit that way to start with, but you've got 60 degrees to play with, ample room. Reverse her out, put the brakes on. Let's go sailing. Taking the boat alongside. Pre-planning is what it's all about. Give yourself plenty of time. You get the opportunity, just do a little drive-by first. Just see what the tide's doing, see what the wind's doing without actually going alongside. We're going to take the yacht alongside the reception pontoon up ahead. To do that, I'm going to use as much of the things that are to my advantage as possible. I know my prop kick will send the stern of the boat to port, so her preferred side to come alongside will be her port side. In other words, when I put the brakes on, as I come in, as I go astern with the engine, the propeller will send the stern of the boat to port, which will line her up perfectly alongside while stopping the boat at the same time. As I say, preparation is key, so we now need to get the yacht ready to come alongside. We put fenders on each and every stanchion, doubling up at the shoulder because that's where she's going to make the point of contact. So Elizabeth, would you be so kind? Could you move the fenders across to the port side, please, and mooring lines across as well? The approach to the reception pontoon will be at a nice shallow angle, and what I'm aiming to do is bring the boat in and just kiss the shoulder of the boat gently with the pontoon. At the point that we make contact and our fenders just begin to touch, it's a burst astern on the engine to put the brakes on, and at the same time the prop kick will swing the stern of the boat in, bring her alongside, enabling the spring to be taken ashore, quick turn, stand up, pop her into the holding position. Let's show you how we do that. When you're bringing the boat alongside, there's lots of things to be thinking about. Speed of approach is crucial, what the tide's doing, what the wind's doing. Today we've got the wind and the tide together on the nose against me. Absolutely perfect. It's going to act like a natural brake. As skipper, keep an eye on your crew. You don't want anybody jumping ashore. It's your responsibility to put the boat gently alongside so that they can just step down smartly, but step down onto the pontoon. As we're coming alongside, your crew can be ready to go with just 1 foot over the rail, not 2, 1 foot. If she slips, she falls back into the boat. If she's got 2 feet over the rail, she becomes a human fender. Not good. Okay, we're coming in at a nice shallow angle. Check your boat speed, just look out to the side. Either side makes no difference. And in she comes. I'm aiming to kiss at the shoulder so that Lizzie can step off with the spring. Into neutral, she's going to glide in nicely now. Let's give her a burst astern. Put the brakes on, look to the side. As soon as she stopped, I must stop the engine. Into neutral. Spring on. I'm now going to go ahead on the engine. I've spun the wheel away from the pontoon. When you're ready. We're alongside. Unberthing the yacht. We've got the boat nicely alongside. She's all nicely made fast. It's time to leave now. We need to decide, are we going to get the bow of the boat out or are we going to get the stern of the boat out? Well, let's do a bow spring this time and imagine that we had a nice strong onshore breeze pinning the boat alongside. If you get a day like that, the only way you're going to get her off is to use a bow spring. That means transferring the little short spring we have there up onto the bow to a cleat here, fendering up the bow because we're going to drive the boat alongside the pontoon using the engine and the prop wash. Let's get her set up. Good. Okay. We've got our bow spring on. Time to put her into the holding position, hold her alongside. I'm now going to put the engine gently ahead, engine going ahead, all right. The wheel away from the pontoon. The boat's now trying to motor ahead. We've now got our handbrake on, which is now a bow spring. Okay, could you release the stern line? Could you release the springs at amidships, make sure there's no weight on them. We've cast off all the lines we don't need. We're just holding the boat alongside now with that bow spring and using the engine. Rudder over, my prop wash heading out in that direction, which is pushing the back of the boat in. Okay, Elizabeth, could you take that down and hold it on the last turn? There is weight on the line, be careful. Quick look over your shoulder, make sure no one's coming out. I'm now going to gently reverse the wheel. Put her amidships. She's coming out. We're all nicely fended up at the front, so the bow's all nicely protected. Now if we had a strong onshore wind here, it'd be pushing us in. We'd have to use more power. I can now put the wheel over to port, and out she comes. She'll easily come out to a good 60 degrees off the pontoon. At point of cast off, I must go to neutral. We're in neutral, cast off. All clear, lovely? Let's go backwards. Prop kick initially is going to take me that way. But as soon as she starts moving through the water, I've got my steerage back. I can ease the wheel and start steering backwards. 2 hands on that wheel. There we go. Ease the power. Into neutral. Okay, time to put the brakes on. Let's give her a burst ahead. Hold on. Here we go. Here comes my prop wash across the rudder. Look to the side. She's stopped. She's starting to move ahead. Got my steerage back. Let's go out.